I'm Andrew Southworth, and this is my point 4 cents.
I'm Jesse Cannon.
I'm Dustin Boyer, and today we're talking about Spotify's new profile protection feature, a new endeavor on not allowing anyone to release music under any profile, which is a ridiculous thing to even say. Then after the interview, we'll get into the conspiracy that all the drama around Chappell Roan was driven by a coordinated bot effort. I also had an awesome interview with GameboyJones, who just went viral, crazy viral, around his new song Jackpot. We get into how he made that happen and figure out how you can too.
And then behind the paywall, we get into the All-American Rejects' endeavor to push house shows on their new platform, while also getting into the shutdown of OpenAI's Sora. And also, Jesse's back. My voice just cracked.
Hi guys,
He's so excited.
I'm so glad you guys honored my contract request that I not be on with Matt anymore. That's very kind of you.
Of course.
People are going to really think that something went down.
I know. Matt's
people
not here
already did. People already
because he
did
had
after
a flight conflict, so Jesse was like, I'll come back, as long as Matt's not here.
Yes, and people already did think I was really mad at him the time he was really drunk on the podcast. Somebody wrote me like, "Did you quit because of that?" I'm like, "I did not quit because of that."
Dude, you should have fed the drama. We would have got more viewership.
It's true. It's true. I was laughing the whole time at how ridiculous that was. But anyway, I'm very excited to be here. So, do you guys want to start chronologically, reverse, or in the order of all the things you got wrong while I was gone?
Oh, jeez.
I was about to police all of our content.
I'm kidding.
Spotify's new profile protection. Spotify has been talking about it a lot and doing the kind of PR run with it. If you search anything about it, you find dozens of articles that kind of read like a PR push, because obviously they want people to know about this feature. And it is actually a really awesome change. And they are genuinely the first DSP to do this. So it's very welcome. Kara, who we talked about before, who had her $100,000 album pulled from Spotify, did a video about it. Also praising it, but having some more questions about how they can improve it in the future. What do you guys think about it? And
well,
I
let's
guess
get into,
if someone wants to introduce what it actually is as well.
Yeah, so just to kind of clarify, the way things have kind of always been with DSPs is that you can essentially release things under any profile, asterisks involved. It seems that labels have always had a secure way of protecting their artists, major labels, from you releasing something. Although things would squeak by, people would get tagged, huge artists would get tagged on features. But generally, there's nothing holding anything back. Anybody back for you to just tag, like if I wanted to put out a song and tag Andrew's band as a feature, there's no system to say, no, you have to prove this. It just completely relies on Andrew waking up one day, looking at his profile and being like, hey, this isn't a song I put out, and then flagging it to get taken down. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but that's pretty much surmises the issue they're trying to solve here.
So yeah, some artists like Drake are locked, but like, the biggest thing being is that the 99.9999% are not. And so, like, for example, as a Sophie fan, every time somebody whose name is Sophia just puts up a song as that, you think she's back from the dead and doing it, but it's really that her estate doesn't take care of her profile. I have a band that I've produced and did some management for, Somos. Somos means brothers in Spanish, as you can imagine, popular name. This happens constantly to them. And
I've had it happen with music projects of mine, I'm pretty sure accidentally, just because using a common name. When you go to upload on DistroKid now, you get to confirm the profile you're pushing to is the correct one. But that's actually a pretty new feature for a lot of these a lot of these distributors. In the past, it would just be like type it in and just hope it works out. So what would often happen is you would, let's say you switch from DistroKid to Amuse. What would often happen is you would get a duplicate profile under the same name, or it might go to the wrong one, and it's kind of a nightmare. It's not like YouTube where you log into your account and push it. It's like, I forget, Sam Dubois from Spotify clarified the name of it. It was called like the open access model for distributing music, which, like, it is convenient that allows you to just like go upload once and all these platforms can push it. But I think the solution that Spotify has here, where in their back end, basically in Spotify for Artists, you will get if you choose to use this feature, you'll get like a pop-up in the system that says like, hey, this is a release you're tagged in. Do you want to approve it or reject it? So you can effectively lock your profile to prevent any spam uploads. And then so if it's actually you, just click approve. If it's not you, you click deny. And that seems like a pretty nice solution to have your cake and eat it too. The problem is, if you wanted to protect yourself on every platform, right now Spotify's the only one that has it, but let's say every DSP has it. Now you have to do that on every DSP. Kind of a disaster, but at least, doing it in the big 3, 4, 5 platforms isn't that bad. It does kind of eventually beg the question of, do we just get to a point where you just upload your music on all these platforms individually at that point?
Well, isn't Spotify's solution to, like, let's say you just forget to check, right? Doesn't it still go up? It's still going to move the song to be public unless you flag it, which I think that they thought about, like, okay, what's worse, like somebody putting out a release, forgetting about it, and then missing a release day? That's a nightmare scenario. So I think that that's, if every platform did it that way, where it's going to go up, you have to flag it, then it kind of bypasses some of those issues. I've always thought it was bizarre that anybody can just do that on anybody's profile. Like, I always thought, like, why can't it just be like YouTube, where you have your profile, you upload your own shit? But the answer to that question is the amount of DSPs that exist out there. Like, if you really want to make money in music, you've got to get your song everywhere. And are you really going to have, like, 10 different accounts with 10 different DSPs and put the music out? No, that's a nightmare. But it does feel sometimes like it's just insane to me that that could just happen.
And what if you sign a track with a label? Now that label needs to distribute the track in their account to collect the royalties. So how do they push that track to your profile if it's your account? They would have to create like they would have to create like a label login system where you grant a label.
No, there's a code. I said it wrong. There's a code. And I said it does automatically. That was wrong. No, there's a code that they give you, that you give to your distro, that bypasses it. So that way you don't have to flag it. It's only when it's coming from other distros.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess you'd have to just do this with every DSP. No,
just every distro. You just give the one code. Like, if Apple does the same thing.
If let's say Apple did the same thing and Tidal did the same thing, and like all the profiles you actually want to protect, you would have to each platform log in, get a code, give it, like, you would have to basically white label all your distros. And if you did label, you'd have to give them the codes, and I think only larger artists are going to be dealing with this problem for the most part anyway. So I guess that's kind of the saving grace. Like, if you're at the level where you're worrying about this, you're probably doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is also pretty easy. Is like just the same way YouTube allows you to whitelist certain accounts, and then as well the new YouTube collaboration thing. I have found, as somebody who uses that 3-4 days a week, I have to do collaborations with people for various channels we're doing for podcasts. It's a really, really good system that, like, you just send somebody it and they confirm that this is a collaboration, and then you can do it. It's like, it's pretty well thought out.
Yeah. Like when you and I did our interview video, we did it as a collab, and it was super easy. I just texted you a link, and you said, got it, and then I saw it was confirmed in my back end. You can go in and see the stats in your back end, and it actually is a pretty nice system. Did you guys see Kara's reaction to it?
Some of it, not all. Tell us a little about it.
Yeah, so I don't know what this is or what you're talking about. So if you could start from the very beginning.
Do you remember the woman who made the video we talked about on an early podcast that was married to the puppet?
No, I don't. I feel like I should remember that, but I don't remember that.
Do you feel like I made this up?
She spent $100,000 making and marketing her album, and then it got pulled by Spotify for fraudulent streams. And there was all this video content around it. She's a vocal producer. She makes vocal sample packs. Like, pretty big, successful artist.
Was it actually fraudulent? Did it come out?
It was it seemed like it was the normal thing that happened, where at some point some fraudulent playlist activity happened on a couple songs on her album. She did it through DistroKid, so there was like basically zero protection, zero recourse, because she wasn't using through like a distro deal or a label or anything. And it got pulled, and she made a couple very negative videos about streaming platforms. And basically she was saying like, I'm going to pull all my music from streaming platforms and just do YouTube and my own website. So that's the kind of backstory to this. And she also had a huge problem with this before because she released a vocal sample pack with like all these loops and samples of her voice, like choruses and verses and one shots and stuff like that, and put it on like Splice and all these different places. So producers could basically buy loops and samples of her voice, put them in their music royalty free, which is great. I think I've even used some of her samples in the past. You can't tag the artist though. So like when you get a sample pack from someone, that doesn't give you a license to collaborate with the artist. But a lot of producers don't know that. So what would happen is they would tag Cara in the release. So she would have just a constant influx of producers who didn't know any better, tagging her official artist account. So just every week, just like random track. And these samples are on like Splice and stuff. So you might have just like it might be a great producer. It might just be some guy's first beat.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's all appearing on her account.
It's all appearing on her account, which is a nightmare for just like, and so she would have tracks coming out the same day as her album that she spent $100,000 on and rolling out carefully. Now Spotify's like, oh, you have this other track that's new today. Let's put that one out instead. And it's some random producer's thing. So when this feature happened, she was like, this would have solved all of that. And interestingly, Spotify didn't even make her a beta tester of the feature. So she was a little salty that they didn't even give access to her in the beta. So that's the backstory. So she made a video talking about it, and she's salty because of all this negative stuff.
Dude, she's going through it, man.
Exactly. She's had like basically every worst possible thing that could happen on streaming has basically happened to her on streaming. And so some of the questions that she brought up is like, does this cover just main artist releases, or does it include features, etc.? Does it include remixes?
I was under the impression it include all of it, including. I mean, half the problem is features. If it doesn't include features, then what's the point?
So that was confirmed by Sam that it does cover all different types of tagging.
Nice.
It works. She was also wondering, can I retroactively remove things from my profile? Because she and a lot of other people have had things that get pushed to the profile, and then you contact Spotify's thing, and then it doesn't get removed, or it takes a very long time. So the idea was like, well, can I just go on my Spotify artist and just like hide whatever release I want? And you can't. So it's only
that would be, or being able to organize your channel. I mean, there's so little control that all these platforms have a back end now. If we could just go in there and be like, I kind of want this or want that. But I don't know. I don't know, man. Can't they just vibe? I vibe code. It's not that hard.
It's like that funny thing. Like, since I last saw you guys, like I vibe coded so many things, and I used to be like the biggest defender of these platforms. Like when I would be like, making these things is really hard. But now, like in a vibe coding era, and you see how fast some, like Beehive, for example, I have never seen a company launch like game-changing full rollouts. Like they launched podcasts today. Like they just literally come out with like crazy new features so fast. And now I'm kind of in that world where like my whole opinion has changed. I'm like, what the fuck, y'all? And, there's all these old reports that are, I had verified. I used to date someone who worked at Spotify. She literally is like, yeah, this happened to me. That Spotify is so disorganized that they would at times have 4 different teams working on the same thing and not realize it because they were that much of a nightmare of project management and dispersed remote work, especially in the COVID era. And like, it's unbelievable that like this is not a thing that it's like, oh, there's any priority to do. Like I know why they don't do some things because they make the money, but this is just logistics nightmare, and it could be really easily automated to make it on the artist's burden.
Or get this, maybe they can create something where we can change the language that our podcast is in, so it's not automatically in German. I don't know, something.
Yeah,
I will
maybe.
say I checked out Beehive the other day, and I do think a lot of these like vibe coded platforms do have a problem with feature creep because they're so empowered. You look at it and you're like, God damn, this is too much. Like, let me go back to MailChimp where I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So a lot of the problem with big companies is there's so much you kind of lose agility with team size. I worked at Raytheon for 7 years and was like a big established. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. So
Andrew Lore just dropped.
I was a mechanical engineer there for 7 years. And
what? You're an engineer?
Yeah, what the fuck? Do
like
you know that?
engineer?
You must not have been on that episode where we talked about
that.
Yeah,
I was a mechanical engineer for 7 years. I have a master's degree in mechanical engineering.
You gave up being a real engineer for a fake engineer.
Yeah, exactly. So I worked there for 7 years, big company, right? Government bureaucracy. If you wanted to change a screw on a radar system, you're talking like $20,000, 12 people signing off on it, government involved, and so it's a normal thing where when you have a team, you have to build all these systems to have a team move in like unison, and you end up having bad situations where it's like you find out there's a team in the other side of the country doing the same thing you've been struggling with for a year, and if you just talked to them, you would have saved yourself tens of thousands of dollars and dozens of man hours in the process. And Spotify is a huge company, and that's why often you'll see new teams being scrappy and coming out with features fast. And then as they balloon, they kind of stabilize and stop doing things. And part of it's because they always have such this legacy stuff that they can't, if they change something, they have to go and retroactively fit it to work with everything else. Like Feature FM, them shipping a new feature is like radically different than Smart Noise shipping a new feature. Because Feature FM is baked into like the Orchard's back end. So if they break something, it's like Sony's distribution pipeline is down.
It's a funny thing. Like, I remember I would hear about things like this. Like, I remember one of my best friends went from working he was a producer at The Daily Show, and he went to produce a show at Bloomberg. And, all you would hear from Mike Bloomberg is like, oh, government is so inefficient. And he gets to Bloomberg's company, his private company. He's like, this is the most inefficient place to get anything done. Everything takes 3 times as long as it took at The Daily Show to do a single thing because it's all ticket systems and communicate. But that is the problem, is that, like, as you said, agility. And, like, I would see it when I was working at all these media companies like Daily Beast and Rolling Stone, is like the smaller you were as a team. And like by the time I left the Daily Beast, we were at like a quarter of the staff of when I started, but it was moving fucking fast. Like we were able to just do things in afternoons that used to take weeks of planning. And it is stunning how important that is to a company. And there's no doubt about it that like the person who ends up, just as Facebook was able to eat MySpace's lunch because of that, when Spotify finally gets their lunch eaten, it's going to be that because someone is so agile.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking at Beehive the same way. Like I like MailChimp, but Beehive is kind of interesting and they're moving faster and there are more features. That it is. I wonder about that on the Spotify side. I will say one thing though. And we've all been talking to the Spotify for Artists team. I feel like they genuinely care. And I'm not just blowing smoke. Like
I think there's a change of the guard that they now care a lot more, yeah.
Yes, there's a difference. And I don't know who was there before. I don't know how long this crew has been there or who's leading them. But they genuinely seem to care about artists. And so I understand everybody's got, we all have our different battles with corporations. And I think it's important to realize that many of the people that work at Spotify are just music lovers and they care about the artists. And most of the people you interact with, like they get that. Like they get what it's like to be an artist. And so I feel that of this current team.
I think like Sam Duboff's team is like, I genuinely think they're like kind of the face of transparency and like doing the right things at the company. And they've been there for a while. But what I suspect happens after the year of negativity that was last year for them, they were like, oh, let's like give these guys more budget and ability to steer the ship. I don't know what's actually happened behind the scenes, but like every positive news thing that's come up about them has come out because of like this stuff from like Sam's team and the Spotify for Artists policy team.
you know, Sam, you're watching his interview. Your interview with him was the first time I really ever watched him talk in a long way that wasn't short form, and it's a lot better of a vibe than like I'm saying this in the way that this is people's worst read, but like when they had that head of playlist who would run around in literal like couture, like expensive, insane clothing that costs thousands of dollars. Like I'd be with women at an event and they'd be like, her outfit's like $5,000. That's not good for the company being accused of robbing musicians every day. That's a very conflicting vibe. And like it does not help your case in any which way. So Sam coming on being just like a plain spoken, straightforward, chill, down to earth, music loving guy is a lot better than that and the drone weapon investor.
Drone weapon investor.
It's been nice that they've had a lot of more like positive stuff this year and recently, because like it was kind of exhausting last year. Like every month there was like some new negative thing to talk about, which was great for views, but it's not so great for like the reality of like working in this space.
Well, yeah, and sometimes I feel guilty. I mean, more broadly as a marketing person, because it's so easy to make enemies in the marketing world of these companies, the labels, the manager, the DSPs, on behalf of the artist. Because we know from a marketing standpoint, it's important to have a villain. And even these labels understand. I have conversations where the label, we're talking about who's the villain, right? And sometimes it's an internal villain, sometimes it's external. And the label's usually the first one to go, make it us. Oh, we're the bad guys. Make us the bad guy. Like they're the first, they get it. And they're supporting the artist. But then, sometimes these conversations come full circle and you're talking to other artists and they're like, yeah, these companies suck. And I'm like, well, like mostly they're just people who love music. Like they genuinely, like most of them care. It's the broad 50,000 foot view of how the companies run by shareholders and executives where I feel it's most problematic.
Yeah.
It was funny with that. Like I always think of the Charlie XCX thing that like after Crash all it was my fucking label. I can't believe they fucking did this. This is my label, my label, my label. And we've all been in these meetings where the label says exactly what you said, Dustin. It's like, play about. So here's the funny thing. Then Charlie XCX's contract's up and it's like, that's right. Now she's going to go do the thing. What does she do?
She resigns.
She resigns to Atlantic Records for Brad. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, it's like who actually like moved the needle and got shit done. That's who you sign a contract with. Is who's going to actually help move your career forward.
Yeah, and the reality is like a lot of these artists, it's like the label is delivering on their things. Like the label was delivering for Charlie. You could argue in Charlie's narrative, she is one of those few artists that has a whole entire record where the company did not put it out because of both leaking and they didn't like the direction. But like really at the end of the day, they delivered for her pretty damn well out of this record.
Dude, I wish I could name names, but I have a fairly famous manager friend. I wouldn't call him a friend, acquaintance. And he was telling me he had an exit with a A-list music artist, and they made an agreement on the exit being he's the bad guy, they're the good guy, and that's the story. And then they put out the press release, and he was like totally fine with being this evil villain of their story. And it just, I remember seeing the headlines around that, and you're like, oh, what a jerk. And then you're like, oh, it's completely fabricated, because these artists, like a lot of these managers, internal people, they're not public figures, so they don't really care that much. But the artist is, and like they love the artist so much they're willing to be that bad guy, which is, I don't think I'm willing to do that. Like I don't think I'd ever want to be on the other side of that, but some people are, and it's interesting.
Yeah. I talked to someone who I won't name, but that has kind of a negative reputation in our space. And I hopped in a call with him, and he mentioned how like he purposefully was okay being that negative face because it got him a ton of attention, where people would reshare his content and be like, this guy's a fucking crazy scammer, avoid him, blah, blah, blah. And then he would go through phases of embracing that and leaning into it, and then like redemption arcs to spin things the other way on social media. And he was talking about how like it was like a crazy growth tactic. So it's
that's so exhausting.
So the last thing that I found interesting that Cara brought up was she was saying how in the SAG world, which is like an actor union, right? They require every person working in the industry to have a unique, essentially, artist name or actor name, to the extent that some famous actors and actresses have like used middle names and stuff as their first name to get around. Her argument is that streaming platforms should do the exact same thing. There should only be allowed to be one artist per thing. Spotify's response was every artist has a unique URI. Her push was every artist should have like a username and a display name. She said every artist, there should just be one artist of every name. I don't think that's feasible because like there's already multiple, like the architects. There's multiple architects out there, and that's never going to stop. But I think having like a username,
that's kind of a no-brainer.
Like
every platform already does that. Why not? Right?
Yeah. And then you could go artist or open.spotify.com/artist/username. Right. So you have a nice, instead of like AQ37B, blah, 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 you know?
YouTube switched to this at one point. Like it used to be like when I first started, I'm sure when you first started, it was like I was 8675309 or whatever. And then I became at Jesse Cannon.
Yeah. Yeah, they figured it out, and they've gone through multiple iterations. Like, you can just go to youtube.com/Andrew Southworth. You don't even need the @ for me because I made my name so long ago before they had that system. But now you can do, like, youtube.com/channel/@ username and stuff like that. But they figured it out, right? You can still have – I can still make a new account called Jesse Cannon, but my username can't be whatever the hell Jesse's – or Musformation is your handle, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'd have to make like Musformation 2.
And in an AI impersonation world, this is just going to get worse and worse and worse, and they need to get control of the ship.
I think putting it under the artist name too or something. It's like artist name Kara underneath @ I am Kara, and that way you know like I'm looking at the right one essentially.
Yep.
Stop offering simple solutions. They're never going to do it as long as you keep offering. Austin, a.k.a. GameboyJones. Dude, so stoked to chat with you. I think that I caught you at a really interesting time and moment. I was really excited for you to go viral because it meant I could talk to you about it and figure out what the fuck you did. If you're watching, this is GameboyJones. He is a musician. I wanted to categorize you as hip hop, but there's a nerd element. And so I didn't feel that it accurately describes your genre. So how would you describe your genre?
So technically the genre I'm in is called nerdcore, which pretty much, so there's always been debate on what nerdcore is. And I've always said I look at nerdcore as the way people say Christian. So, you know, you don't say Christian music. You go, this is Christian rap. This is, you know, Christian rock. This is Christian da-da-da. So I'm a nerdcore rapper / singer because, you know, I go between rap and then, you know, I have my other entity, Glitch Whisper, which is all singing and pop. So, yeah, that's kind of how that whole thing works. But I am, you know, hip hop to the core, though.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Well, and it's funny because hip hop, it's just like pop or rock, right? The subgenres are really what matters. And half the time, that's the fun, is arguing about like what it is. It felt disingenuous to be like, he's hip hop. I'm like, that's not quite right. But yes, also.
Yeah, it's right, but not quite right. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But you have done such a fantastic job of creating a community, and I think the most impressive part is that it is on your own. I think when you and I met and first spoke a couple of months ago, it was sort of baffling. It's always baffling to me when an artist like yourself is successful in their own right. Like they just are building it on their own and they're treating it like a business, and you don't really care what the industry has to say about it. And I think the industry, I mean, that they don't hate you for it, but the industry recognizes the danger that it's in because of guys like you. And I always find that is really fun and unique because I like that part of that. To me, that's what makes the music industry fun, is that anybody can wake up and just kind of do it. At least that's what is exciting for me, is probably the music for you. But all I had to say, recently you've had a song, Jackpot, go viral, and really you as a meme go viral. So let's start there, dude. Let's just talk about Jackpot and like tell me the story. I don't even think we even really got into it when we talked about it before. What the hell happened with this song?
No, we didn't. No, what happened with Jackpot? Actually, it's so funny because I've been interviewed about this before, and people go, "Oh, did you think Jackpot was gonna go viral?" Yes, 1,000%. Which is funny because there's plenty of ideas I have that I'm like, this is a viral idea. Like, who knows? I was like, this one's gonna happen. I was like, I don't know what scale it's gonna be. It definitely went higher than what I thought it was gonna be. But like, I knew that it was gonna happen. Like 1,000%, because there was already. So again, I'm a nerdcore artist. I was making a song about a character named Hikari. He has a move called Jackpot. He's done it in the manga.
Is this okay? So this is from a manga. Got it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So he hasn't done it in the anime yet, but there's been edits for the last year of people having him do like his dance during his move during it, of him doing it to it's called Tukadonka. It's a Brazilian funk song, and people have been making edits of manga panels doing that for a while now, and people even petitioned it to be used in the show. And I was like, what if I took that song and gave it words, pretty much, and stuff. So I pretty much had my producer. I was like, give me a Brazilian funk song. I'm gonna make something for him on that, and I'm gonna just throw it out there as the Hikari song. And I was like, people want this. People want this as a thing. So I was like, it's gonna do well online with those people who already want this as a thing and stuff. And then it kind of did really well. I mean, it did really well. And then I made sure when I put up my videos on TikTok, I was in front of a green screen. I was like, because there's a lot of people who loved it or hated it. And I was like, someone's going to grab this and do something with it. Which the funnier part about it is the first 5 days, no one used the green screen. I became a meme.
That's my favorite video that you've made. You're like, I did the green screen so you could use it, and you're not using it.
I was like, no one's using it. No one's using the green screen. I became like, it's so
dude,
funny.
I was laughing out loud.
It's me, a lot of green around me, and I'm just like, wow, no one's using this at all, which makes it even funnier.
It makes it funny, dude. That's such a Gen Alpha thing to do. Like, I feel like that might define Gen Alpha and how unique they. And I don't know if I mean, is that right, or is it young Gen Zers that are
no? So I would say it's Gen Alpha and young Gen Z. That's kind of what I've been catching so far, because like I can kind of see like the age range of anyone who's like approaching me, super low high school, like 14-year-olds and stuff like that. I've been catching that a lot. Like I have, like a few like early like 20s, like 19s and stuff like that. But for the most part, I can definitely tell that the demographic skews pretty young for this. But I think that Gen really likes imperfect things. That's kind of their like. I remember someone said millennials started with the internet, and what our aesthetic is like curated perfection, and then eventually it kind of slid to Gen Alpha, and it became like, well, Gen Z obviously with like Gen Alpha.
Let's skip over those nerds
and like dumb stuff. So it's just like, oh, I just throw this thing up because I can, and it's imperfect, and that's great, and that's what they kind of do.
It's kind of encouraging, and you're right. I think that growing up with the early internet, and I'm an older millennial, you're kind of aiming for perfection, because that's what computers were in the 90s. You're like, we got to get better and better and better, until the point where it's now automated into AI, and you're kind of like, gross, like it's not authentic. It misses that human element, and now you want it to feel like raw and dirty and like not quite right, because it feels real. It feels like messy. I understand. I feel that. But I think that some of my millennial friends who aren't into content, they're very much stuck in that, like, ew, like things need to be good. But I
do that all the time.
Right?
I have to have the best camera, because it looks like, I was like, you don't
No.
Use your front camera. Use it. I bought a camera to do stuff when I have to use my phone for music. Just use your front camera. I swear to God, it's gonna work out. I promise.
I'll tell you that is, as somebody who is in marketing, the biggest struggle is young Gen Z and Gen Alpha, because understanding the nuance. I mean, and maybe this has always been the case for young audiences. There's a lot of nuance in their tastes. And if you don't get it right, it feels super fabricated. And even when we were kids, you feel it. When they take something culturally that's moving and it's turned into corporate something, you feel the inauthenticity of it. And so I think probably every generation that is slightly older struggles with marketing towards the younger audience. But that's what I'm impressed with the most, to be honest with you. And maybe just because I suck at marketing towards that audience, is how well you're able to capture it. But I will say this, knowing the story of how that song came about, you're doing something that most artists refuse to do, which is look at a market opportunity, say, people want this, I'm going to make it. Like that, artists do not do that. Like that is not a normal thing I get. Most of the time it's the opposite. It's like, oh, you guys don't want this? I'm going to make it anyways. Right? It's smart.
I feel that though. I do feel that though.
You're like, I still feel that way. I don't want to make it. But there's a need. There's a want.
So what's so funny about you saying that is, in my niche, again, I make music mostly about anime and stuff like that. And everyone leans shonen, so it's always like high like action, high octane music all of the time. And I used to tell people, hey yo man, I'm tired of all these Big D energy songs all the time. It's always the I Am Him song. It's always the that.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this, dog. So like for a long time I did I made a, it's so funny. I made like a G-Funk Dragon Ball song, and I remember I told my one friend who was mixing it, I said, I'm only gonna make it if you mix it, because you're the only one capable at the time who could have.
What is G-Funk? What do you mean by G-Funk?
Like the genre, like vocoders, like Zapp and Rogers type.
Got it. Okay.
Stuff like that. Yeah. So it's like that / like R&B, like elements and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this song, and he goes, oh man, this thing's a hit. It's gonna go. And I was like, no, it's not. I was like, nobody's asking for this. No one in our audience cares. He's like, nah, man, it's gonna be a mill easy. Thing flopped like a motherfucker. It died. And I was like, I knew it would. But like, currently GameboyJones is I kind of felt myself not have a lot of like recent like concert music. So since I kind of already was doing Glitch Whisper, and I've been appeasing my pop side and stuff like that, and all my singing, I was like, man, GameboyJones gonna skew and do some crazy like concert music. So that's why you see my songs like Mosh Pit and stuff kind of be thrown out there now. But like this song, so like I was like, I just want energy for the whole year. I just want energy songs. And I was like, hey, Brazilian funk song for this dude, energy. Like this fits in. I haven't rapped over funk before like that, but I was like, this fits in the.
It's very unique. I just want to
rap energy. That's
it. And maybe I just haven't heard Brazilian funk, but it was funny when I first heard it. I was on the way somewhere with my wife, and I was like, you have to listen to this song, because like I've never heard anything like it. And I think that's part of the appeal too, is that like, and well, really any good music, you give people something they want, of course, but then also, something new and different and feels unique. And it feels, it's funny, the imperfect thing, the song feels imperfect. Like so much music right now, like I have to audit my Spotify algorithm because sometimes I can't tell if something's AI or not. And I'm like, is this AI? Do I need to block it? But like, I don't know how you feel about this, but the song isn't, AI can't make that song. Like AI cannot make Jackpot. That is such a unique song.
I love that you said there's something imperfect about it, because I'm not going to lie. I cannot get that chorus to sound the way that I want to. And I was like, I don't care. I'm putting it out. I was like, I literally do not care. Added voices, did whatever. And I kind of got to the point where I was like, I think it's the key. I was like, I don't think you're supposed to yell in that key. It just sounds weird. And I was like, full send it. I was like, it's a yell. Anyone who
it's a yell, yeah.
Concert, everyone's just gonna at the top of their lungs. I was like, it doesn't matter, just put it out. Actually, I have a friend. He kind of does. I don't fully do this. But he has an 80% rule. His name is Longest Solo Ever. He always goes, if I can get a song to 80% of the way that I like it, I actually will put it out, because he goes 100% is stupid to strive for, because it will never be there.
Oh yeah, perfect is the enemy of good, man. And most artists die on that vine, especially around like content and stuff too. It's like I know artists who would never release like the green screen thing, and the idea of people using them and memeing them, it's just
so bad.
Yeah, but see, I don't know what it is, but I think it's just this idea of what social media used to be to so many artists, and they can't get that out of their head, which was a cool thing. It was like being cool on social media is what it's all about. And I'm like, it's interest now. What are you interested in? And I think that that's what's so clever about this song, because we live in a world of interest media, and you focused on interest. You said, hey, people love this manga. What's the name of the manga?
It's Jujutsu Kaisen. I almost said JJK. I was like, you don't know what that means.
I've seen the show. I've watched the first couple of episodes, so I'm familiar. It wasn't my jam. I'm an AOT guy. Like, I like dark shit.
Watch it.
Does it get darker? It was too goofy for me right out of the gate. I was like,
go watch it. All right. I will.
That's fair.
I will die on this hill right now. You're saying it's too goofy? It has one of the most intense scenes.
Really? I should go back. That's how I felt about One Piece though, and I watched 40 episodes, and I was like, no, I can't. Once I got to the reindeer, I was like, I can't do it. I can't do the reindeer.
Chopper. I love Chopper.
Okay. I know, it's just not my bag.
One Piece, I can 1,000% see why people can drop that. It's so long. There's like you kind of don't fall in love until episode 500. Like, it's so weird. I tell people,
it gets so good around episode 500.
Don't do it. JJK definitely hits all the intenses and stuff way sooner into its like run. It's only on season 3 right now, and beautifully animated show. I will say, I read the manga. I will say the very, very, very end, like last few chapters. But like for the most part, I like the run.
Isn't that how it always goes? Like AOT at Attack on Titan, right? The ending is I don't know if you've watched Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
I was about to say it would be crazy if you didn't.
I've watched so much anime. Like I have a gigantic list of stuff that I've watched.
Dude, that's like market research for you, honestly, though.
That's there's so many people inside of my genre who I can tell that they just make it because they know that there's a fan base there and stuff like that. And I'm like,
some of them I know, and they still do well considering.
It went because people, as long as you can kind of hit like a general vibe, you can kind of do it. Like, this isn't shade. I mean, I'm going to assume he's still like a fan to some degree, but like John Michael Howe, I think he's a dope musician. He's going crazy on social media right now. But 2 of his biggest songs are him going, he does this whole thing where he goes, I'm going to spin the wheel. And the wheel lands on an anime. And he goes, all right, cool.
Oh, yeah, I know John Michael Howe.
Yeah, see? There's that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, he's not going, I'm Luffy, I do the thing, I stretch, I blah, blah, blah. But, he did the Missing Piece song and stuff. But, like, it's the fact that he goes, here goes a correlation. This is a shantyist type song. And he's kind of doing, and he's like, I'm basically doing it like I'm living in the world of the show. And I was like, I'm cool with that. Like, there's some sort of intent with that. Missing Piece, there's a tie, One Piece. Blah, 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 blah.
Ben Schuller does the same thing, and he does it. That's what I like. I like the way John Michael and Ben do it because they do it tastefully. They don't pretend to be something they're not. And I think that makes it good. Like, that makes it like, I kind of like this. I'm going to make some content around it. But yeah, no, that I didn't consider, his stuff. I mostly saw that Carousel video, song. That's what really hit my algorithm for whatever reason.
That's what hit everyone's algorithm. As soon as he did that, everyone likes spinning stuff. He got that. Connor Price spun a globe. I'm like, everybody's spinning stuff, man.
Dude, You're right. I should start spinning stuff in my content. None of the music gurus have done this spinning some. I gotta find something to spin.
I know something. I feel like people love the idea of something being random. Meanwhile, they made the song. They're like, God, I spun this thing 50 times. Just land on the thing I want you to land on.
Yeah, they're full of shit. They're like, I wrote the song about Mexico. Land on Mexico. That's Connor Price, right?
He's like, I hit Australia.
He's trying to time it. Oh no, dude, that's totally what happened. Oh man.
Well, yeah, no, like I think that, people kind of just love, like, here's this interactive thing happening within the content. So, like, there's human psychology is a fascinating thing, which, to be honest, that's kind of what I think
that's what you did.
I love it. Because, like, people are asking me, like, oh, how are you dealing? Because the negativity has kind of gone away. Like, obviously everyone's gonna have their haters, but like the negativity was like super crazy at first whenever that song came out, and they're like, oh, how are you dealing with it? I was like, first of all, I don't even be using social media like that. I don't even really see it. Like, I don't read comments like that much on stuff. So I was like, it's whatever to me. But I was like, it was to be expected. I was like, it's so off kill. Like, Brazilian funk is usually just instrumental. I was like, I ain't gonna lie, that like in the pot, I was like, I think it's kind of ear piercing. I'm not even gonna hold nobody on that. And I was like, it's kind of like an LMFAO, Little John type.
Yeah,
it's kind of like centered around like shot, that kind of vibe. And
I saw that video where you broke it down. And what's funny about that is when I showed it my wife, she's like, I like, this feels good and like familiar. And I was like, it's an interpolation. And I was like, you kind of hit our millennial brains with that shit simultaneously. It's clever because you're hitting that.
Yeah. And I was like, if this hits a young audience, they're going to hate this shit. So I was like, I'm ready. I was like, I'm memeing for a young audience while having a sound of a millennial. And I was like, there's a weird juxtaposition here that's going to be fighting itself. And I was very aware of that. But I was like, hey, anything's going to be good to push this. So now it's kind of funny because I keep having this really weird war inside my comments of people like, this song sucks. And then just people dogpiling them now of like, man, F you, man. This song is awesome.
It feels like what's fun is fun, right? Like, it's like going to see a popcorn flick. You're like, this movie sucks. Fuck you, it's aliens blasting aliens. Like, what are we talking about? Like, let's just fucking have fun with this shit.
No one likes fun. Because everyone goes like, oh, man, you think this song is good? And I was like, I think this song's appropriate. I think this song
I think as an artist, that's so funny to hear. I think this song is appropriate. It's the flavor that I delivered to the people that wanted it.
Right. Do I think Mambo Number 5 is one of the best songs of all time? No. But I know what that song's used for, okay?
Yeah.
It is an appropriate song for what it's for, okay?
Like, it's sort of like zebra cakes. Like, zebra cakes, like, they hit. You know, it's not a good pastry, but it's fucking zebra cakes.
Yeah, I'm having fun, dog. Like, not everything.
I'm having fun.
Deep, profound thing, man. Like sometimes I don't want to bar out all the time, bro. Like, can I? Yeah. Like, can I sing my ass off? Yeah. But I'm like, hey, fun party song. I just want that. That song is vocal stem. The song, I just hit the jackpot, slot, the very ending, 777.
Yeah.
7. I was like, stems everywhere. Y'all gonna be stemming.
I got a kind of a nerdy question, because we talked about like both these audience, the millennials and the younger ones Gen Alpha. Have you poured into like your listener data at all? Like, who's really listening to the song? Like, who's winning?
So I actually haven't. I've only looked at.
See, I mean, it's unrealistic. Nobody's a nerd like me. Immediately, I'm like, what's the demo? What's the consumption?
But like, what's crazy is I'm a nerd in this stuff, but I think I'm just a human psychology nerd. Like, I like how people interact. So it's one of those things. I'm not sure if we ever had the conversation. I don't look at my stats at all. Like, I literally, if you were to ask me if you ask like me now what my monthly listeners is, I actually don't know. I literally have not looked at it. I've only looked at the stats of that song because people have asked me what the stat, because I keep going into all these label meetings and stuff right now. So I only know what the stats of this song are.
Yeah.
I'm asked about it. But for the most part, I could not tell you what any of my strong songs have streamed. I can only tell you how many subs I have if I hit a milestone, and it tells me. I judge how I'm doing off of audience interaction, because the thing is, if I start hitting people, because like people will say, "Oh, congrats on like a mil," I'm like, "Oh, thanks." People will tell
You're
me,
like, I don't look at that.
I literally do not look at it. Or if I go like, "Oh, there's a lot of activity happening right now. What's happening?" Oh, okay, cool. Like the only thing I look at is like TikTok, really, because like you open the app and it's like stats, and like here goes stats.
Yeah, you
right
don't have a choice.
Here goes everything. So I can't avoid it. So if something does well there, I'm like, okay, something happened somewhere, and I can capitalize off this, and I can just tell off of general interactions now. But yeah, no, for the most part.
In fairness, though, the engagement, the comments, they matter most. Like the data is only interesting from like an analytical standpoint of like, oh, I'm kind of curious what ended up winning out here. But the comments, people don't realize, they're always looking at views, streams, shit like that. But when people say things like, I love this, it gives you information that you actually need in order to continue to like market something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, people, and again, I'm all about interactions. I'm all about connections and stuff. If you ask anybody, I'm like, shoot, actually, my profile probably doesn't say this like anymore. I can't remember. I used to always have professional yapper on my bio. I talk a lot. I have a lot of friends. I told people, hey man, I hope I don't have to pick between people at like my wedding, because like I have like 20 dudes that could be my groomsmen, and I'd have to pick between all of them. I've been in countless. I think in the last like 6 years, I've probably been in 7 weddings. I've been like, I talk, I connect with people. I love people. I hate people, but I love people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I felt bad the other day when you called me and I was like in between meetings and I was enjoying our conversation. I was like, I have to go like right now. And you were like, damn. And I was like, damn. I'm a yapper too, so I enjoy the conversations.
Yeah, I know, man. So like sometimes whenever that's like if you let me, I'll be there all day. Thank God. I am my parents' child. But thank God, the one thing I didn't get from them is lack of social awareness, because they'll talk and they won't shut up. Like to the point where I have to tell them, like I'll go to leave and they'll keep talking. I'm like, I'm disengaging.
I'm literally outside the door right now.
I literally do. My mom will follow me. I said, stop. Don't stop following me. I'm leaving right now. Because she'll walk out and she'll talk to me as I'm going to my car, and I'll be getting in it. I'm like, stop talking. Love you.
Yeah, that's enjoy it while it's there too. It's like, you're like, God, I love you, Mom, but so going back to I think what's really interesting, and what I think anybody in the music industry would look at what you did and kind of pull out their hair a little bit, because the golden grail, no, the holy grail of content is getting other people to make content. I mean, I can tell you most of the time we're seeding the sound, right? We're pushing content out there. But you went into it, created content. I guess my question for you is, what did you create to incite and influence others to create around it? If you're enjoying the interview, there's actually a second half to the interview where I get into it on how he implemented a strategy to go viral with his new song.
So guys, we got a lot of drama in the world. Chappell Roan's bodyguard apparently talked down to an 11-year-old girl. And then that's where things get very crazy. Then on my For You page, at least on both Instagram, on Twitter, everyone decided it's time to make fun of Chappell as if she murders children in their sleep and hates them. And Chappell's team has now said that this inauthentic behavior on the internet was done by astroturfed and botted accounts.
When I saw the negativity about Chappell Roan, because it was like all of a sudden going on social media and people just being like posting a picture of her and being like, so we're never listening to her again, or like, it only took her 48 hours to destroy her career. I'm thinking she was like, she like raped someone or something, something horrible.
That'll do it.
Not that, you know, something like like something awful. She killed someone and got away with it because she was rich or something like that. And then it turns out that like her bodyguard said something mean to a fan without her involvement. And then I was like looking at the comments on this, and I'm like, there's no way that people are this unreasonable about this. Like something like even someone showing that the bodyguard's like being mean to an 11-year-old girl, and then it's pretty clear that like it was an action that happened outside of the artist's involvement, and then people still doubling down and with comments like, I can't believe how cold she is. She's awful. I'm like, this just looks fake. And it seems like based on what Jesse's talking about and brought to us today is a lot of it just straight up was fake.
Yeah, reading through the article, it seems they've actually pinpointed that it is not a conspiracy. I think at the top of the episode I said conspiracy, but it looks like they actually talked to, was it Goodia, a research company that previously made headlines for its report that found that Taylor Swift was also subject to a coordinated online attack. They looked at 100,000 posts generated by 54,000 unique users across 7 platforms between March 20th and March 22nd. They found that 4.2% of the users contributing to Chappell conversation at this time were non-typical, i.e. were very likely to be bots, as well as that being a high percentage of bots in and of itself. They accounted for over 23% of the posts. So who and why? What?
Oh, okay. You want the theory?
So this is the conspiracy part.
This is the theory now. Is that Chappell was the first big artist to basically come for Casey Wasserman when he was found to have been formerly dated Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator in the pedophile cabal that rules all of our news. And so what many people are hypothesizing is that this is Casey Wasserman's revenge. Now, have I seen in my life people that vengeful to pay for money for things like this in the music business? I can't say I've seen that, but you know what I've seen a lot? A lot of artists who don't care as long as they're talking about them and then amplifying the shit as well. So my honest thought here was, I have been in the meetings with teams where we've decided to amplify shit that looks bad for the artist because it's better to be talked about. We've talked about Shabuzi admitting that his team placed that fake news piece that said Dolly Parton was his godmother and that he's a Nepo baby now. And they did that with very smart reasoning that it made him part of country royalty and they needed to get the large black man accepted by a bunch of racist country listeners. And the big thing being, I don't know what to think of which way that conspiracy goes, but my Occam's razor would go, her team probably promoted it a bit.
That's interesting. Yeah, the Wasserman thing, I think it's so much bigger than Chappell that it just feels like revenge doing it this way. It feels like that they have bigger fish to fry, and I don't know. That just feels very illogical to me. I mean, it sounds like I've talked to artists about doing not stuff like this, but hey, let's try to drum up something interesting. And I've never spoken to an artist that has been like, ooh, let's get into it. Most of the time, they're very defensive. Jesse, are you seeing teams do this sort of stuff without the artist's input, or is the artist usually clued in?
I could say that usually the artist is the catalyst of going.
They're usually the ones.
More like creating a culture of that we have now adopted the philosophy, much like the Kardashian philosophy. It's better to be talked about than not talked about. That is, you see it. Timothy Chalamet comes into the Kardashian family. What starts happening is publicity game. It changes very much. It changes to attention based. Doesn't matter if he says ballet is for whatever he said. I don't even fucking know. I didn't care enough to find out.
It was so innocuous.
Yeah,
right?
I found that so boring. I don't even know the exact quote. The point being, there is a theory behind this. If the artist has created that culture, what I would say is that sometimes the team's just like, yes, we have permission slip already. And so the artist is not in the meeting where I've been in for it. But also, what I will say is, then there is also just like we all have like healthy relationships with ourselves, and let's be honest, there's a lot of these artists that the narcissism, it just doesn't care. It just loves the attention. It fucking it is literally the sunlight for their flower.
No, I think well, I just want to piggyback off of that real quick. I have a lot of artists that the roller coaster of it all heavily affects them. They're very normal people, and when they're going up and everything's amazing. But when it goes down, they're like, I'm failing. Everything's falling apart, right? So when you zoom out, they were doing nothing. Now they're hugely successful. But the valley of it all, after that peak, it like changes the chemistry in their brain and they go into a depressive state. And I can see an artist making a decision like this to be like, I need to be back in the news. Nobody is talking to me or about me. I could see even normal artists being in that headspace.
When you get to the level as big as this, where you're like in the top couple hundred artists in the world, or probably in her case top 100, I would imagine.
She's top 20.
Yeah. So I feel like this is when stuff like this starts to not matter if it's like negative or positive press, because like Kanye West just dropped an album.
Million people in the ticket queue.
Biggest album in the world right now. I mean, who knows how long.
Yeah.
Like, and he's the number 21st largest artist on Spotify. And he's said some pretty messed up things over the years.
Yeah.
I think that puts it lightly.
Yeah. And so he's kind of a known, like, questionable person, to put it lightly, without getting into details, right? It's not that people think he's done bad things. He's like actually done bad things. Nothing like Epstein bad or whatever, but he's kind of a lunatic, and he says like very bad things in multiple occasions. Still one of the biggest artists on planet Earth. So I think what that kind of tells you is when you get to this level, it's like it is kind of like all press is good press.
And which family did he marry into again?
Well, I don't know what.
Oh, he was married to Kim Kardashians.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He was married to Kim Kardashian.
But yeah, I mean, like he got like his song kicked off Spotify last year or something for.
Well, you know, the song was called Heil Hitler.
Right. But like you would think after that was probably one of the most blatant, like, this guy's spiraling, and he's still just back. Like it's like everyone's just like, who cares, right?
Not to further the, because it's so ugly to see human beings act this way, but it feels so distant. It's almost like the way they treat Middle Eastern wars. It's distant, therefore the rules are different. Famous people, it's distance. It's like I'll have a conversation, not to get into politics, but I'll have a conversation with somebody, and they would never hire somebody like Donald Trump to work at their company, but they would certainly vote for him as president because the rules are different. And so they're okay with Kanye West being anti-Semitic because he's got badass music and the rules are different. It's upsetting and bizarre. I don't like it.
But like to get back to even the thing, I think at the end of the day, like what the wager has become, and I'll get into my politics thing without making it about partisanship, is one of the things we've learned in politics that's the greatest evolution of politics of the last 20 years is there's a lot of these issues that you may not like it, but it's not going to change your vote for it. So for example, I've never voted for a Republican in my life. I'm probably never going to. But I hate the Democrats to a deep, deep, deep degree as a large whole, as a body of Democratic politicians. But they don't break my contract with them by doing things that would break, like, I find too much for me to still support. And what a lot of people have learned with artists is being a little mean to an 11-year-old and having your bodyguard speak to, let's say it was all good faith and all the stuff that family accuses her did it ain't enough that somebody's like, I ain't going to listen to music anymore. And the fact of the matter is, the other thing about this behavior, and one of the reasons I always do get into a thing with like how much it is easy for fan accounts to seed this inauthentic behavior is, there is people on X, since people are paid to post on X and people aspire to pay on X, where what you are doing is you're getting your reps in at the gym of takes and jokes every day. Because if you get enough followers and you get enough things, you are now paid to be funny on the internet. And that is a lot of people's dreams. And what I saw with that Chappell Roan thing is like, it was a lot of people posting GIFs all day long of this thing that, like, you know, launching children from catapults and things like that, like Chappell Roan when she gets on stage and it's like child going into catapults, and like, you know, they're trying to get their reps in to be one of the best on the internet, and that shit fuels what we do every day.
And just like your friend, Andrew, she might be, if this is actually coordinated internally, they might be planning a redemption arc around the next record, because she's in between records, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the bottom, and then she's going to have redemption, and that redemption's going to be simultaneously released with a record.
I pulled up her chart metric because I noticed in Spotify she was 163rd largest artist in the world. So
right
she's
now,
wow, in the top 200, not even top 100. Looked at chart metric. She's at the lowest amount, and this is just Spotify, so who knows what other platforms look like. Monthly listeners, lowest they've been since she popped off back in 2024. So, like, it's still 34 million monthly listeners, so, you know, take out your tiny violins or whatever, but she's doing fine.
Yeah,
but, you know,
she was in the top 20 at her peak.
Yeah, and it would be a pretty crazy story if, okay, this all negative, it's like lowish she's been in a while, negative press, singles start coming out, positive press, and nice things start coming off, and then she goes to be the biggest her career's ever been. It is kind of a cool story for them to tell. And then they can talk about how fast she's grown in press as well. Like, oh, she's grown by 30 million monthly listeners in only 2 months. It's like, well, she fell even further because of all this negative stuff. So, I don't know. It does seem convenient. It does feel very conspiratorial, but who knows?
I mean, who else? I mean, Wasserman, right? That would be one candidate. I mean, maybe there's an internal grudge we don't know about. I once called out a botter who was botting Spotify's streams. This was like 2019, 2020, and going and selling it to artists and their team. And I think I've talked about this before, where I got a recording, and that guy, to retaliate, would figure out who I was working with and bought them, right? So in some way, nobody knows about that, and I had to explain to my artist what was going on. So I can see even like an internal thing happening there. But it does feel, even the interaction, like the whole thing felt weird, especially with, what was it, the Brazilian or the Peru government, Chile? Which government was it that the president of that company was like, she's no longer welcome in our country? You guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
A whole fucking country. Hold on. She's been barred from performing in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, because the mayor, excuse me, not the president, but the mayor came out. Because I guess the football player was the stepdad of whatever football team they have down there. But like even that like elevated the whole thing. When I mean, did the security guard hit the child? Like what actually occurred? They just
don't stare at her.
The security guard just came over and was like, "Don't." Like that was the drama.
Mm-hmm.
This feels fabricated. That feels like the kind of light touch an artist would agree to. It's so innocuous and fueled by bots that it would be a non-story if it wasn't for those bots. And if the mayor of Rio de Janeiro didn't say anything.
Now, was the mayor somehow involved, or is the mayor just a damn fool?
The mayor's got much bigger problems to deal with, because you want to know what's not doing so well there? Crime.
Yeah.
So
but here, I mean, think about the money side of it, right? Like, okay, they set this situation. Maybe this situation, there's not like there was cameras. What if the situation is completely fabricated, right? And they're just saying, this happened. And they go to the mayor and they're like, hey, here's $10,000. We just need you to make a statement, right? Like, it now, the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, this sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
Yep.
I recently watched. Did you guys ever watch the OC?
Yeah.
So Ben McKenzie from the OC, he's been on a bunch of other things, made a movie called Everyone's Lying to You for Money about crypto. And when you watch this, it's just, when you say things like you paid the mayor $10,000 at first, I'm like, come on. Oh, there's that scene in that movie. And like, it really is that thing these days. Like, I hate, growing up with a father who's a massive conspiracy theorist. Like, I'm so allergic to them. I produced the biggest conspiracy theorist podcast in America for a couple of years. I hate giving into them, but sometimes you're like, man, this feels so inauthentic and such bullshit.
I think that the nothingness about it. I do agree with the Timothée Chalamet. I mean, look, we know that whether it's the CMAs, the Oscars, the Grammys, they're massive organizations that vote in these things, and the winner typically ends up being whoever's making the most noise. That's why they have campaigns. So the Timothée Chalamet ballet thing was 100% a way for people to be talking about them and thinking about them, because it's more likely you're going to get votes. Like that just feels very accurate to me. And this feels like, I swear, if we're doing the podcast in 6 months and there's a redemption arc around the Chappell Roan new record, then we're gonna have to talk about it, because it's just gonna be way too planned and organized for that not to be a conspiracy. I don't know.
Putting a reminder in the calendar.
Now, what should artists learn from this?
You can't do that shit until you're big enough. First of all,
I mean, you can kill your girlfriend, put her at the back of a Tesla for a few months, and get real popular real fast these days. So let's not get too crazy.
Jesus.
Did he get away with that still? Has he still not been arrested?
No one's been charged still.
Who is this?
That's nuts.
There's this artist called David that is suspected of killing his underage girl in the back of his Tesla. They found her body in there.
Oh, wait, the D4
VID. Yep.
I've heard of him.
I literally was, so we live across the street from a bus stop, and I looked out my window the other day and I see like a kid in his hoodie, and I'm just like, I turned to my wife and I'm like, God help us.
Jeez. Well,
how hasn't he been arrested? That makes me feel like that whole thing's made up.
I mean, it's unfortunately not, since I talked to the reporter who dug into it, and they saw all the things of it, and it's horrifying.
Well, damn, horrifying. I kind of wish it was made up then.
No, when I talked to her, I wanted to plug my ears after. I was sorry I asked. Let's put it that way.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well,
for me, a big takeaway from this is like, a lot of artists will look at the biggest artists in the world and look to like what they're doing to model what they should be doing. And I think this is just further proof that they should stop that, because the rules that apply at certain levels don't apply to other levels. And, it's chances are doing something like this yourself will just like get all your accounts banned, or will just get you actually canceled.
Yeah. The other thing being, they can get away with this because they have allegiance to their music. But like, truly too, the other thing I would say though is, the one thing artists can learn is you should have a callous enough skin that when people are saying bad shit about you, that it really doesn't keep you up at night.
And they will. There's no situation where your hopes and dreams of being a famous artist come true and people aren't talking shit about you. Even
I think
some
it's a
of
rite of passage, honestly. Like if no one's talking shit about you, you aren't successful enough yet.
Dude, I've worked with some really famous, really nice country people. The nicest people you'll ever meet. You're like, how could anybody? But people will find something, anything. And sometimes it's just about the music. Sometimes it's like with Zach Top. It was like, he's only big because he's doing this thing. It's already been done before. And you're like, man, I remember when his manager was putting around town and everybody wouldn't take it seriously because he was traditional country. And now you're saying, well, he's almost famous because of traditional country. Like, people will find a reason to hate on you. And, I honestly, sometimes I think about the mental state of these super famous people, because I don't think as human beings we're meant to live that way though, regardless, right? It's you have to really shield yourself of the roller coaster of the hate. It's wild. Even smaller artists can't handle it as soon as they get a little bit of something.
Well, to wrap us up on this, I'll just quote the great lyricist LMFAO. Now stop. Hate is bad. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. We're trying to get to go as far as it can, so please start a conversation with a musician friend by sending it to them.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our episodes every Thursday. If you can rate us on Apple and Spotify, it helps us a ton. Tune in next week for more.